So we can move right into our guest speakers today. Uh, from GHD Engineering, Azadeh is here and supported
Right.
by Hillel, who is a familiar face, who will be talking about the cut through. So this is to slow down the traffic, to keep all this backup happening around bridge traffic time. And also, I just want to reiterate again, and I'm sure you'll touch on it, this is a separate project from the connectivity project, even though the geographic location overlaps. So welcome to the PRNC. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you. Should I take the lead?
Why don't you? Azadeh, are you with us?
Yes, she's with me. I think
All right.
Kamesh is going to take the lead. But let me, Hilal Hamdan, Senior Civil Engineer, City of Richmond. Thank you all. And I'm very happy to be here again. I feel like I have to purchase a home here so I can be part of this community. But definitely, it's a pleasure to be here. I just want to give a little bit some overview what projects are coming in to your district. Let me share the screen here before we start talking uh, about our project. Let me see if I can share the screen. All
And
right.
Hillel, can you just tell us what you're actually calling this project so that I can identify it properly?
Which one?
The one you're talking about today.
So I got multiple projects. I want to talk about
Okay.
Scenic Avenue. This is we got a
Okay.
request. We're gonna basically the scope is to enhance the striping here, and this is already we have a contractor on board who's gonna start like in a week or two, and fixing the stairwell also as well. So we're gonna enhance the striping here. So we'll have striping, better striping. So we'll have to be two lanes on each direction, one lane at each direction, and the stairwell we're gonna rip it off and put a brand new one and fix the concrete pad as well. So
Uh,
that's one project. It's coming.
ma-
We're yeah. The
Please
second,
just to clarify that
sure.
this is Scenic Avenue, pretty much where it meets the top of Tunnel and joins East Scenic. And so are you going to stripe Tunnel? Is that what you're saying to help the cars understand how to go?
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it all came with the request. Of course, Philip is the lead, and we listen to the community, and we're vested. So we heard you, and we're taking action right now. Second project is I don't know how much you guys are aware of Caltrans. They're gonna shut down the on ramp, the off ramp, Stenmark, starting June 1st. We get usually notification from Caltrans, and it's like I said, Stenmark Avenue, the off ramp will be closed sometimes on June 2nd, June 1st. Sorry. So stay alert. Don't take that ramp to the 580. All right. All right. So as Philip mentioned, let me bring it back. Where's my? Let me see, Philip here. I'm going to stop sharing. As Philip mentioned, we got three projects ongoing. The first one is the cut through, which is sponsored by BATA. Basically, the scope is to deter motorists to drive through the local street on the Point Richmond, and we're gonna study enhance it. Maybe we'll increase additional crosswalk, additional humps. We're still gathering information, and we need your input, and it's very crucial to have your input here. We're gonna share. I'm gonna pass it on in a little bit to my consultant. He'll talk about it extensively. The second one is the connectivity project that's led by Gail Payne, my co-partner, and the CSW is the consultant. Again, we're working together, we're coordinating together, so we don't double dip, we don't do the same twice, three times the job. And talking to the community is very important. We got your email as well, and we're gonna be reaching out to more the business owners. I want to see more bike staff coming or whoever's biking. I want to hear them. It's not enough for me to see only 20, 30 people. I want to see 500 to hear the comments, and hopefully we can do that. Or half of it. We're doing a good job on the Keller Beach, and hopefully we can do the same here on this one. The cutting Boulevard, Gerard, we're just gonna be doing some striping enhancement, meaning I'm gonna share again the screen. Let me see.
And Peter, I see your hand.
All right, share. So CSW is the lead on enhancing the stripe. I'm going to take one example. For example, this is the Gerard. I hope you can see my screen. Cutting Boulevard. We're going to stripe it differently. Instead of like right now it's going through, now we're going to make it, as you can see, a right turn. And this is the lane. It's going to be right, straight, and left turn. So that's part of the enhancement that's coming. Hopefully in the coming weeks, we'll have a contractor who's going to start working. Again, additional signage we're gonna be also removing. There's a U-turn here that it says no U-turn. We're gonna remove it. We're gonna let it through for people. For example, if we have a train on the track and stuck and people still wants to go through or make a U-turn, we'll have the possibility to do it this time. So we're enhancing, we're listening, and we take action. This is part of the previous project, but again, comments from feedback from the community. So we're addressing it. We're going to enhance it. We're going to make it easier and facilitating the operation of the bike lane as well. Now,
before we move on to the next project,
sure.
It looks like Peter has a question about the previous statement.
Yes. Peter?
You're muted, Peter. You are on mute, Peter. Unmute on your end, please. And Kate, do you have a question also? We'll get you next. Can we jump to Kate Spalding and back to Peter when he unmutes? Edie?
Can you hear me now?
Okay, now we have
Yes.
Peter, and then we'll go to Kate.
Yeah, my computer died, so I'm on my phone for this meeting, and took me a minute to figure out how to unmute and this situation. Anyway, you had mentioned the closing Stenmark, and we see the signs.
Yes.
What does that mean for those of us who live here? I live at Point San Pablo Marina on one of the floating homes.
Mm-hmm.
And we only have one exit off the freeway to get here.
Well, Caltrans, it's sponsored by, right? Caltrans is the lead agency, and they provided detour for here. I'm going to share the detour as well. And maybe let me see if I can take a snapshot here. Let me take a snapshot. I don't know. Let me share the screen first of all, so you can see it. Maybe you can take a snapshot. We get those notifications from Caltrans, and that's the detour. Here you go. Detour. I don't know if you can see it now.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the detour information here. Go east, take on ramp, 580, canal, and then coming back to 580. Hopefully that helps.
Is that that's getting from Stenmark onto the westbound? So you had mentioned earlier that the exit to Stenmark was closed. Is that not the case?
The exit Stenmark to the 580, yes, it'll be closed.
But 580 to Stenmark, is that going to be closed?
If the 580, no, it's not going to be closed.
Okay. All right. So we just have to go across the bridge to.
Thanks. And can we assume there'll be road markings for the detours?
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
and Caltrans will take care of it. I mean, they have their own contractor. I don't know who's the contractor, but if you want to, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
All right.
Kate, did you have your hand up as well? Thank you, Peter. Kate? All right. I don't see Kate here now. Let me go to Kate Spalding. Yeah, Kate is unmute on your end, and Edie, will you check with Kate Spalding?
Well, I mean, I can't check any more than
Okay,
saying this. So, Kate, please unmute. Kate, you are
you-
still muted.
And Philip, I see
Thank you.
Council.
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes?
Yes, you are here.
Okay, thank you. So, sir, my concern is I had difficulty orienting on your city maps, not knowing which way is east, west, north, south. If that was apparent, I couldn't see it. So while you
Are you
talked about several
Stenmark?
aspects of cutting,
Oh,
it
okay.
would be a great help if you could orient which way is Point Richmond and which way is which way.
Gotcha.
I don't know the orientation.
Sure. And I see Caesar, Council Member Caesar, already shared the link for the detour for the Stenmark as well. So let me orient you back to the map of on cutting. See if I have it available. Let's see. All right. So this is Gerard. The Point Richmond is, I don't know if you can see my cursor.
We cannot. We are only seeing a
blank screen.
cream colored screen.
Oh, really? Okay, let me see what I need to do. Share window. How about now? Can you see the screen?
Yes, that worked.
Yes.
All right, perfect. Gerard Boulevard and cutting. Is it and Point Richmond? This is the mechanic here. If you can see my cursor on this side, right?
We
Thank
can
you.
see that.
Yes. So this is the. I'm gonna zoom in for. I'm just gonna give you some sneak peek. So the striping will be changed here. Usually there were like two lanes, and the two lanes they go straight somewhere. So we enhanced it. We made sure now we have a right turn, dedicated right turn to Gerard. The other lane is going to be through and left to Gerard. That's the change. So you'll see that soon.
Thank you. And did I see them spray painting on Wine Street on cutting to make that right-hand turn to the elementary school on Wine? I saw some spray paint in the
Spray
street.
painting? No, the spray painting is just to see how those enhancement will play. You know, they had to do some adjustment in the field, but not yet. No.
And so my understanding is this is not the total project. It's just what's happening first.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you. And Kate, thank you.
And then the Cutting Boulevard. This is by the Wine Street here. There's a U-turn sign. We're gonna be taking it out, removing it. So people, if they get stuck by the train and they want to make a U-turn, they'll have the possibility to do that. Coming back on Cutting all the way and taking Gerard or back to Gerard or whatever.
Hillel, I had a conversation with a neighbor today because one of the concerns, and you've physically taken this drive with me, one of the concerns is that we don't really want, you can make the U-turn if the sign is not there, but you physically can't do so as long as there are ballards or armadillos. So it was suggested that part of that trail, that northern bike lane, which was installed specifically because of train regulations, it was never really intended to be there, that part of that could become a share-on, which means that it's one of those lanes where an arrow, so that the bicyclists understand that that might not be a dedicated bike lane in an emergency if someone was making a U-turn. Is that a possibility, or is that a whole nother conversation?
No, it's a possibility, but what we did is we gave enough space on that cutting so people, when they want to do a U-turn, they'll have additional room to do it.
Thank you.
Yeah. But we're looking to as well. I think we are also enhancing, removing some of those channelizers, so at least, they don't collide or,
Yeah.
removed by the U-turn.
There's a challenge, of course, making a right-hand turn onto Girard uh, uh, on Cutting because the right turn lane was removed. And so we do have some backup. I don't want to take up time with that because it's a separate project, but I'll walk through with Jessie
Wow.
and she can pass it on. Or next time we see you, or Gail.
Sure.
Gail's really welcome, by the way. For those of you who don't know Gail Payne, she's our new planner and she's working on connectivity and she is brilliant, brain full of knowledge. So we're glad to.
She's the
Okay,
senior transportation planner. She came from Alameda. We stole her from there, and she's doing a great job for us.
Well, she
Now-
was
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Yeah.
My
I know
my
you were recruited by Tofik, who is a
Yes.
well-loved
Yes.
planner in our community. So that's great.
Absolutely.
thank
All
you.
right,
Good.
back to Hillel.
Now, back to me, and then now we're gonna talk about the 580, the pass-through, the cut-through project. It's been led by a new consultant. He's the consulting our GHD, and I'm gonna introduce Kamesh. He's the lead. He's the principal in the GHD, and Kamesh, if you want to take the lead. Thank you.
Sure, Hilal. Thank you. Thank you all for the opportunity. Philip Azadeh should have been making this presentation. You rightly pointed that out. But she was on vacation. She's on vacation in Canada. And I said, okay, I'll help you out. So otherwise, she should be the one. I saw the newsletter and it does say her name, so there is no confusion from that perspective. And I'm also in India, so I'm here visiting my dad who's a little sick. So therefore, I'll have Sarah, one of the planners that prepared a website that will eventually unveil it in front of you all. But she'll run the PowerPoint to ensure that there is no fidelity issues as far as bandwidth is concerned from a server in India all the way to the US and buffering the PowerPoint. So with that, Sarah, can you share your screen on the PowerPoint? All right. Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so as Hilal mentioned, we are here to talk about the cut-through traffic evaluation. You probably already have heard about this in the past through another study, which we'll cover. But our intent. Next slide, Sarah. is today is to introduce you to some of the concepts we are considering, refresh your memory from the past study, introduce you to some of the concepts, but largely we are here to listen at the end of the day to get your feedback, and then go back and then kind of fine tune any of the options we have, and then we would like to come back to you one more time. That's the intent. So we're pretty much here to listen, and we understand that there is definitely some safety concerns, and we need to manage some of the traffic. We've also used some big data sources to validate some of those cut-through patterns, in addition with some field observations that we have done. So we'll share all those with you. You probably already know this, but for our sake, we did all of this to ensure that we have the right data to make some of the options we'll be presenting here. So next slide, Sarah. So the problem here is there is definitely some congestion that occurs on 580, and so people are using the cut-through traffic as seen in this yellowish kind of a line. Mostly, they're cutting through Cutting, and then they're going on Railroad and Santa Fe. That's what we have noticed, and then they're going back onto the freeway. So we did notice that, and we did document some of these patterns. Next slide. So before I go and do some video collection. I wanted to, well, we want to take a moment to refresh what a previous study concluded. It's pretty much self-explanatory on the street, but again, so they recommended narrowing some lanes, introducing some new always stop signs, as long as the warrants are met. For putting an always stop signs on all four sides of the intersections, we need to meet certain warrants. They recommended raised crosswalks. They also recommended some signal timing improvements. So that was done back in 2024. So we are here in 2026. Our intent was to refresh that study, look at those improvements holistically, and come in front of you folks here to seek your input. That's, in essence, nutshell of what we're trying to do here. Next slide, please. Okay, so what we have reviewed the previous study. We did field review. We'll share some videos. We have a Compass IoT data, which is a big data source that is proprietary to GHD, where we have data that reflects traffic patterns. We can also get some speed data through there. Could do some origin destination studies and stuff like that. Then we also did some travel time analysis, and as you can see here, community feedback, and that's where we are. And the next step would be is to refine the evaluation based on the feedback, what we present, and then before we move on to the next stage of the project, get the refinements, show them to you, then take it to the next stage. So that's the intent of it. Field observations. Well, as you all know, based on the freeway, of course, the conditions vary. If it's congested, you'll see some cut through traffic. If queuing on Castro does lead to bypassing, and then there is definitely speeding on railroad. The Castro bypass is a unique thing, and yeah, we were not so sure why people would do it, but then we were in the field. Next slide, and it does show people are cutting traffic and making a weird U-turn. Looks like to bypass the traffic. Yeah, you can see people are bypassing the traffic, making U-turn to get back onto the ramp. I think this is a faster way than just staying on and making that left turn, I bet. So we did notice that too. It is happening. And next slide, there is definitely speeding on Richmond. Sarah, if you go to next slide. Yeah, that right turn was fast, I'm sure. I don't know if you can see that, but that right turn was fast, and there's definitely some speeding here. So we did notice that, and we were in the field with Philip, happened to be there, and then there was a right turn traffic. That car was speeding, and we were like, okay, yeah, it's just some people do it. So we did notice that again with Philip, and then next slide. So we were able to review previous studies. We also parsed through various community feedback available from various social media platforms, and through all of that, we derived some of these some of these trends that we believe we heard from the community. Speeding on railroad is huge. The community wanted us to collaborate with any of the improvements. ADA access is an issue, and elderly access matters. We also heard parking is important. And then there is also mention of bicycles on the sidewalk and unsafe crossings. Definitely unsafe crossings. Yeah, we were in the field again with Philip, and we've noticed there is almost no crosswalks due to various configuration issues and parking and stuff like that. So We did notice that too. So this is what we've heard so far in generally reaching out to you folks and are gleaning your social media pages and are attending some of the community meetings that you host. Next slide. So based on all of that data collection, what we've heard, previous studies, the focus areas that we felt that we wanted to focus on to make some improvement recommendation options for consideration for the group here are signal timing changes, cutting in canal and cutting in harbor. What these would be is to penalize during those specific hours to prevent cut-through traffic from using this. So perhaps artificially add some more red time. As you all know, at a signal, if you have a red, you're not moving. So perhaps artificially add some additional red time, and that'll deter traffic.
So basically, when you have the Google map, you will see like red, and it will add more time for you to use that street.
Yeah, so it'll be delayed, and then all of a sudden that'll hopefully deter Google, because it's so much, as you all know, it's so much real time. So it's going to be interesting, and I did always wonder, how can we influence Google to show artificially more red, and that is not possible. So there is no way we can influence Google or Waze, which are the two platforms that almost everybody uses to a fault. And I'm one of those culprits usually. So so I'll stop there. Then on railroad, we are again based on the focus areas and some of the options again that we were considering to address these problems. Most of these are self-explanatory, and we'll go to each of them in detail, so I'm not going to read them out. But the biggest takeaway that I'd like you all to remember is some of these improvements do come with a sacrifice. I use the harsh words because we all understand parking is scarce, and some of these improvements might involve taking a few parking spots. How many? It would be tough to establish unless we do some preliminary designs, because ADA, we heard ADA is an issue, crossings are an issue. So once we start laying it out, we have to figure out how the drainage, and we have to do some engineering to understand how things will be laid out and how many will be impacted. But at a minimum, some of these improvements will at least have one or two spots. So then you might wonder, how can we compensate? There is, of course, some improvements like parking tees. If you were able to paint some of those parking tees, again, that's a maintenance nightmare for Hilal and their group. But if we consistently do that, we believe there is some room to gain some spaces. But that's an overarching. That's something that I want you all to remember, that some of these improvements, whenever we are doing some new crosswalks, raised crosswalks, will come with that compromise. Or a sacrifice, I should say. All right, next slide. Before I go in, I see a hand up. Bruce, yes, please.
Yes. Question, you show a traffic circle at Richmond Avenue in Santa Fe. Is there room there? And there's one question. And if there is, traffic circles are great for cars, like the pair of them at Gilman, but pretty tough for pedestrians. So any questions on that in terms of, are you really serious about that? Is there room? And if so, what does it mean for pedestrians getting through the circle?
Yes, we will address that. Great question, Bruce. We will address that. I believe there are some slides on that. We'll get to it. Yes, I will address that, and we can engage that. We can engage more on that when we get to that slide, Bruce.
Yeah, because that speeds up traffic, not slows it down.
Okay, that there's a possibility that could happen too. So yeah, we will get there. So rubber speed bumps. Again, the intent of these, as you all know, would be to slow them down. They we Railroad Avenue is where we are considering these improvements um, due to the parking on both sides and lack of insufficient width. Um, we do not have an we other improvements like bike lanes and stuff will be evaluated with other projects that we all discussed. And the intent of this study is to do immediate improvements to address the issue. So therefore, none of these improvements would preclude anything you do in the future. So based on all that, we believe installing some rubber speed bumps on Railroad Avenue will slow traffic down. The intervals of that and where they'll be need to be located, the spacing, all of that needs to be studied in a little bit detail. But we wanted to float the idea with you through this medium and seek your feedback. Next slide. That's a visual demonstrating like the curb extension and how it will slow down the traffic. In a nutshell, that's what the video was trying to show, especially on Railroad, where that crossing, that right turn is so fast. By doing that improvement, you will slow down that right turn, and then eventually followed by a set of speed bumps, you'll maintain that slower speed. Next slide, Sarah. Okay. Santa Fe Cottage. Yeah, this is a unique location, given the angles and the constraints of the parking. I think there's 3 parking garages. Some people pull into the garage. There is definitely tight constraints. So what we're considering is like a channelization treatment and defining that stop sign, making it more defined on Cottage Avenue. So what this will do is provide more clarity to folks, because right now it's like a free for all kind of an image you get if you're there. So by doing that and enforcing people to make those moves by providing some additional direction. Next slide. And similarly, same thing at Washington Park. These are similar improvements where we're doing some directional channelized islands. By doing that, you would be able to force traffic into those areas. These could be raised slightly to deter traffic. Like regular motorists would definitely feel the bump, but it'll not impede some of the larger vehicles. We're also considering, based on the feedback again, installing a raised crosswalk across Park and Washington. And to do this, definitely we'll have to evaluate the engineering feasibility of it, but as it pertains to ADA and drainage. So since if we were to do this, then these could, again, like I mentioned, there could be 1 or 2 vehicle parking spots lost. So that's the give, and the gain is these raised crosswalks slow the traffic down significantly. So that's what we are considering at Washington Park. Next slide. So this is an image of a channelization treatment, what it could be. As you can see here, this is what we are trying to propose. This is what a treatment could be. A channelized treatment could be at the couple of locations where we could do a simpler delineators. So, and then mountable islands, we could do all of that. So anyway, so this is just a visual that way you can all put your like, it's good to show visuals. So this is a visual of channelization treatment at those two locations. Next slide, please. Okay. at Richmond and Washington, we are doing a raised intersection. What we're doing is proposing a raised intersection. And of course, pending drainage and AD investigations, where we'll be raising the entire intersection. Since it's an always stop controlled intersection, we believe a raised intersection would offer significant traffic calming benefits at this location, because all of the traffic's already stopping. So raising this out will slow them down even further, and give you the much needed traffic calming benefit on Richmond Avenue. As we all know, that's one of the things that we heard from the community that they would like to see. So, next slide. This is what a raised intersection would look like. Slight vertical profile, elevated. That you will feel, and you will definitely slow down if you're a motorist. It also improves the pedestrian visibility because they're raised. It's good for neighborhood-oriented streets, and we believe this improvement bodes well with the character of downtown Richmond. And then there is also mention of Park Place and a raised crosswalk consideration at Park Place. Today, there is not a crosswalk on Richmond Avenue for quite a distance. Various constraints, parking, angled intersections, utility poles. There's various constraints, but we this is one of the things we heard that the community would like to evaluate. So a raised crosswalk at Park and Richmond would definitely slow down that traffic on Richmond Avenue before they go to the next intersection. However, like I mentioned, there is definitely a loss of parking that needs to be evaluated, and also ensure that we meet all the ADA checks and make the design work from a design perspective and in drainage. But yeah. The crossing on Park itself, we believe is doable without any loss of parking per se, because there's already a crosswalk that exists over there. So, yeah. So that's an image of a raised crosswalk. As you can see here, there's definitely a vertical profile there, and that helps slow the traffic down and gives the opportunity for eye contact. That's what we're trying to gain at these locations, that we need an eye contact. So, all right. It's like now to the last question. Here you go, Bruce. I'm sorry. We are looking at a traffic circle here. What we're trying to show is not a roundabout like in Gilman. I think I'm sure you're referring to the I-80 Gilman roundabouts. They're huge. They're 120, 140, 180 feet even, depending on how big they are. These are smaller neighborhood traffic calming circles is what we call them. They're usually fully mountable. So they're usually fully mountable, and then give the deflection needed to for the motorists, the the angle at which they go, you'll slow down. But again, since this is not an always stop control intersection and it doesn't meet the warrants, we believe that we should present this to the community for your consideration. City of San Diego is installing many number of these neighborhood traffic calming circles with some raised profiles that will slow your normal traffic, motor cars, motor vehicles. But then if you're a big truck, you will be mounting over it too. So there'll be enough deflection for these improvements. And you do bring up a good point as for the pedestrians, because some of these, since the size of this is so small, there will be some shark teeth. We'll have to consider some of the shark teeth improve, like we have to do crosswalks across these painted, of course, and then put some shark teeth in there. There'll be other visual improvements we'll have to do to present to the motorists of an upcoming traffic circle and people crossing at that location. There's many examples that we could probably provide. Bruce, if you have more questions, city of, like I said, San Diego is doing many of these. They're probably doing almost one every 3 months or something like that. I believe there is a visual of that. And next slide. Yeah.
This is good. At least it doesn't show. It's not going to be like the key and bear. It's going to be different.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you can see, there's a vertical profile, and then, you can see there's some deflection in there. So that'll help. That'll make people, drive around it, which will make people slow down. And for larger trucks, they'll be driving over that. As you can see, the 1 to 1.5 inch vertical profile. They'll be driving. I'm sorry. That vertical profile they'll be driving that over that to the tune of 1 to 3 inches, based on what it'll be. So, somebody has a hand up. I'm almost done with the PowerPoint. We can wait, or.
Well, and actually, it's Edie, and I'd like to just, especially because you have this up, and it would take you get time to get back to it. I have a question. When you say that it's mountable for larger trucks, one of the things that is an issue on that road is that we have had large trucks come down there. I do not believe that road is truck clearable. And if we actually, I would say, if we can make it not mountable, that would be preferable. Simply because many times we have had very large vehicles that end up coming down that road and then end up having to back out of that road, because that road, as it continues on Richmond, gets smaller and smaller and smaller until they've got themselves into a bottleneck, and then they have to back out 2 blocks. And if we could actually stop them from going down in the first place, we would have probably saved them a lot of time, and of course save us a lot of time when they get stuck. And I just was curious, what is that road rated? Is it not rated? It's not rated for trucks?
I'm not sure if there's signage. Yeah. I'm not sure if there's signage to deter those trucks. I mean, I don't think so. So they can come anytime and go anytime.
Right, and I think that's something that needs to be taken into account, is that if there is no signage, and I agree with you, I don't think that there is any signage, and that has been needed for 20 years when I have seen trucks loaded with sailboats, giant sailboats, get themselves 3 or 4 blocks down there, and there's no access to the road, no access to the freeway, and they can't possibly get themselves out except by backing up, which is no easy feat when you've got a 40-foot sailboat on the back of your vehicle. So, and we're talking about like semi trucks. So you may want to reconsider the whole mountable thing, only simply because it is farther on, not a truck friendly street to start with. And if we could stop them before they go there, that would be better for them. It would be better for everybody.
Thanks, Edie.
Yeah. We'll take that comment and we'll evaluate it.
And The other consideration, though, is fire department, of course, so they might want to access it. So that's the push and pull, right? Like, so we'll have to evaluate that, and if they need whatever deflection they believe they would like to go through is what we will, you know, at the end of the day, we'll have to design to their needs. Of course, as you all agree, that's the number one concern and criteria for us. But then, to your point, we could probably put some signs saying, you know, trucks, you know, wherever the last point is, we believe because of the narrowness of the road and stuff like that, we could probably direct trucks sooner than that, through. I think that's something that I'm sure he'll all city can take it on, based on these findings. Yeah, excellent, good point, Eddie. Appreciate it. Next slide. So yeah, Railroad Avenue speed tables, as we mentioned. So these will be again raised profiles across the number of them and where we place them yet to be determined. We'll have to figure out ideal places where we need to do them, because based on certain intervals, we can achieve certain slowing down of traffic. But this is how they'll look, and then we'll also need to work with the fire department, of course.
And
Next
AC,
slide.
it's an AC transit route.
Yes, of course, AC transit too. Yeah.
Bruce, could you close your door? Thank you.
So as you can see, they come in all shapes and sizes. So we can probably design them in such a way that the AC transit bus, you know, can pass through it, so, you know, and then it'll deter other motorists, because AC transit is not trying to speed through there. So if we can design it for their bus, and then, you know, the other motorists, if they follow that, they're going slow anyway. So the shape can be influenced, and we will definitely need to work with them in the fire department. Yeah. So again, what we believe is what we are thinking is these will reduce your cut through traffic. There's a potential, because again, if you're slowing them down, they will not come here, because they're like, oh man, it's taking me more time to go through this than I'm staying on the freeway. You're loading the speeds. Of course, that's what, you know, a neighborhood needs to feel like. Improve safety, enhanced crossings. With these enhanced crossings, you can cross those streets safely, and improve comfort for people that are walking and biking on these facilities. And as you know, we can solve congestion issues. Like I use this strong word, you might have to sacrifice a few parking spots. So that'll be, we believe we could compensate those again with some other parking management strategies like parking fees. But again, the feasibility and viability of those needs to be evaluated. We do believe there's options, but this is in a nutshell what we believe these improvements can do. Next slide. So as I said, we are here to listen, and I'll turn it over to Sarah, who worked on before we go there. I'll also pop into questions. Before I go to the questions, I just want you all to let know that we have created a GHG Engage website, a social pinpoint website, where all these options are included. So you can take a look at them, read through them, provide your feedback options, voting and stuff like that. Sarah will go through that. Before we go there, I'd like to take questions and provide answers to the extent possible. If not,
thanks. Before we get to Bruce and any other questions, can I do a quick punch list, because I was with you on this walkthrough and have done it 100 times literally. So one of the things I just wanted to point out, that corner at the pub where cars are turning from West Richmond onto Railroad so quickly and dangerously, it was actually Gail on the other project who pointed out that it is possible that one of the reasons that is such a wide crosswalk is for the AC transit buses. And Gail and I actually viewed a bus needing that wide turn. So it's just something I'm mentioning. I need institutional knowledge, particularly from Bruce and James, perhaps, that in 2002, or maybe Peter, in 2002, there was a Envision Point Richmond study that was paid for by the community out of some money from a movie that paid us. And we had discussed the possibility of making Park Place one way heading towards the Indian sculpture, which would allow for a safer angle and more parking. So if anybody has, I don't want to necessarily address it with you right now, Kamesh, but because we're also talking with Gail on the other project about it. The other thing is that it eliminates people from backing into Park Place, which makes it safer for bicycles if they are ending up going down the middle of the street. So if anyone has institutional knowledge on that, I remember what I remember, but I can't find any documentation on that. We have been begging for all the crosswalks at that plunge corner on Washington and East-West Richmond. And so thank you for considering that. We've been requesting some type of raised crosswalks. I have documents going back nearly 20 years on that. So thank you. You showed an image of a crosswalk being placed from Park Place across West Richmond. And on your drawing, it showed that being on the corner of Massa, the restaurant. But I think that the decision was that it was actually going to go from the corner of the fire station. So on the other side of Park, because there's a red zone to receive it and then one fewer parking place. So the one at Massa is the one that would, the crosswalk would end up at the utility poles. So I just wanted, that might have been an error or might have been a discussion different from what I remember. So we can look at that again offline. And I do want to point out to Edie's point that we do need to also understand that there are delivery trucks within the community delivering particularly the food trucks and the beer trucks. So there really isn't a solution. They do, like in the big city, they do need to sometimes double park and quickly unload. So I think it's worth considering in the triangle that deliveries are often double parked there. So thank you so much. Bruce, unmute, please.
Kamesh, thank you for the excellent, very clear, thoughtful presentation. I applaud the new and enhanced crosswalks on Richmond Avenue. Those are really needed to be a great enhancement. Suggest also considering a crosswalk from the Indian statue going west across Washington Avenue. That crosswalk is needed there.
Yes, sir. It was in there, Bruce.
Was it? Oh, great.
Yeah,
the question
straight across with curb cuts because no handicap people can or wheelchairs can enter the triangle without going all the way to West Richmond.
Excellent. These crosswalks are really needed.
And we give up some parking.
An issue I'd like to raise that builds on something you mentioned earlier, Phil, is please consider one-way traffic on Park Place southbound. That has a couple of potential advantages. One is the cut-through traffic will not be able to go northbound cutting through there on the way to the bridge. Secondly, if northbound on Park Place, there's that weird angled stop sign where you merge with Washington. It's a very strange situation, and driving on Washington, you're always wondering whether somebody's going to actually stop at that stop sign or hit you in the side. So my suggestion would be to consider making Park Place one-way southbound.
Bruce, do you remember that conversation? I think you were around.
I really don't, Phil.
Okay. The issue at the time was that the fire department vetoed it. And this is what I remember in my head, was that they vetoed it southbound and they weren't considering northbound. But at the time, that stop sign wasn't there at the end of Park Place in front of Kaleidoscope. So I think we should just look at that again. And I think you'll agree, as a person who understands a lot about bike safety, The idea of diagonal parking, there would be so much more parking available that we could actually possibly pick up parking spaces that we lost at the other crosswalks, particularly if it is back in diagonal parking so that nobody hits a bicyclist with regular diagonal parking. So happy to talk to anybody about what I know we've discussed with the city and what I remember, and somebody's going to remember that, probably James. Thanks,
But I
Bruce.
mean, let me chime in here a little bit. I mean, keep in mind, I have a small budget. I don't want to throw to have an environmental document, by making it one way, and the
Okay.
timeline, right? So, like, we can do so many within the budget. I mean, right now the budget for us is around like 600, 700,000 given by BARA. And that's all that's all we can maybe request, maybe a little bit of a additional 10% max, but again, maybe
Okay.
Gail can take
Hillel,
some of
thank
the
you for
load.
dragging us back into the cold reality of money and no more.
Absolutely.
And we all want a baby unicorn too, Hillel.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
Peter.
at the timeline, but at the end of the day is to get the feedback, comments, and what is the priority for the community, really. I mean, we can go 10 priorities, but again, if I have limited budget, I have to narrow and squeeze it to maybe 3, 4, 5 priorities, and we can go buy it, because it's very expensive, as you know, now with the war and the prices, gas prices skyrocket. We're getting bids like 20% above what we estimated. So keep in mind.
I hear you, Halal, and understand your
Yes,
caution, but I'd like to point out that BATA MTC have very deep pockets. So if we have a good project, maybe they'll agree.
absolutely. Yes. And that's that, and we're gonna. I think Kamesh and his group. I mean, they have the website there. That it will tell you, like, okay, what are the priorities that we can rank them 1 to 5, and I hope his staff can show that, and we can narrow it again. Um, Working with those external stakeholders, we are committed, to the X number of dollar that they gave us, and I can push and request additional, but I don't know if they can, provide them. But keep in mind anyway.
Thank
Kamesh.
you. Peter, I'm sorry, Bruce, you had more questions or comments?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Peter?
It seems to me that the primary impetus for this is the pass-through traffic. And won't that be ameliorated with removal of the toll plaza? I mean, the toll plaza, the old toll plazas, and the traffic expanding from 3 lanes or 4 lanes to 5 or 6, and then back down to 2. Once the toll plaza is gone and they streamline that, the traffic should.
But
we shouldn't have the backup there.
Maybe, but you know how
now.
it is. Any accident in the bridge, a backlog automatically. They start looking for local street and stuff like that. So we're gonna look at it cautiously, but again, like I mentioned, I don't know if you heard me, but any accident on the bridge, it's gonna trigger backup, and people will start looking for how can I escape that, backup or something like that. So I'm trying to deter people to use the Point Richmond as a scapegoat, right? I mean, I'm gonna make it difficult for them to think, oh, I have a easy route. That's the intention.
Right. Well, the accident on the bridge is the 1 in 20 or 1 in 15
Sure.
possibility, whereas the backup at the toll plaza, because of the existing toll plaza, that's a day-to-day thing. So you're never going to be able to cure the one. If there's an accident, people are going to become
but
squirrels
keep in mind
the
bridge, the toll bridge. It has 2 phases. One is the temporary, and then there's the final one. So it's 2 phases. By then, I don't know what year they'll be finishing. 2029, 28. I don't know when. People, meanwhile, will still use the Point Richmond as a scapegoat, as a cut through. So I want to make sure that they don't use the roads that Philip drives around. So that's the intention.
Well, I do have another question.
Sure.
These raised intersections and raised crosswalks, how raised are they?
I estimate maybe like 6 inches, 6, yeah. But there's going to be taper, right.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, what we're showing right now is just, proposal. Maybe they might not work, right? I mean, we have to look at all this ADA compliant, the slopes, the drains, as Kamesh mentioned. We have to consult with the fire department, the AC Transit. Everybody has to look into it. I mean, it's a joint effort, but this is a proposal. We need our comments and feedback and see if like, okay, which one should we drive and push through, right? For example, like, priority 1, let's have a crosswalk on, I'm just going to throw Santa Fe, for example.
Sure.
Or a circle, something like that. Yeah.
Edie. Peter, were you set?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. Edie?
I also don't want to let go the overwhelming support I personally have for the lengthening of the stoplights, because ultimately I know, as someone who relies on her GPS, even though I know exactly how to get home, I still use the GPS and I will follow it. And when Tesla tells me to go right, I go right, even if I know, because I believe that it knows the fastest way. So I don't want for it to be lost or minimized the absolute importance it is to ensure that Tesla, Google Maps, Waze, that everything looks at our town and goes, nope. Because if they say nope, then the cut through traffic will say nope. Because people, as much as we would like to think that we think for ourselves, realistically, we just turn off our brains and follow what the GPS tells us to. So if we can get that GPS and those systems to change their minds about Point Richmond being a viable, even by 1 minute faster, even if it's the same exact time, we need to make it longer than the traffic ultimately, because if that 1 minute it will give you something different. And if it's exactly the same amount, it will give you Point Richmond.
Edie, they actually, you might think you're kidding. They're actually talking, if I recall correctly, about 3 or 4 minutes. Just slowing it down before they even get here by 3 or 4 minutes. So,
and I'm throwing my enthusiastic support behind it as someone who recognizes the value of that. So thank you for doing that, and make it 10 minutes. Gosh, make it 10 minutes. Make it 10 minutes.
Okay. Are there any last questions? I see that in the comments there's a request for this presentation. We're happy to pass that on, or even this meeting will be, of course, on our YouTube channel. But I think we can also, be happy to link and send out to the community this presentation.
So the link, Philip, the link basically it's accessible. I'll keep it open for maybe a month or so to receive as much as comment. I'll be back maybe in a month or 2 months to report back what we received from the community. I'm going to post it on Nextdoor app. I'm going to post it on Instagram. I'm going to post it on Facebook. I'm going to make sure that I reach as many people, the businesses. I'm going to talk to the economic development group. Yeah, just to reach out to those folks and see what we can get from, as far as comments, feedback from them as well. Keep in mind, whatever improvement, it's not going to be in conflict with the connectivity for the Point Richmond, the bike lane. No conflict. That's the main thing. And we're coordinating. I'm coordinating and making sure that Gail and her team is, we won't have any conflict in any of those improvement. And we don't have to come back after 5 years or 3-4 years. For example, Philip will call, look, you messed it up.
No, I'm not. I'll be gone.
Listen, I'm gonna make sure.
weeds. I'll be pulling weeds.
I'm gonna make sure on that circle I will have you stand there.
Sarah, if you could just do an information dump to the PRNC email that
Thank
Hillel
you.
has, then we will compile a MailChimp so that we can send that out on more than one occasion. So if you can just summarize that, even give us this little poster slide that you have that's up now, we're happy to do it. If anyone, I'm going to do a last call for questions. We're running quite late. This is important, and this presentation was exquisite. Thank you, Kamesh. It was very clear, and the visuals were helpful. But I do want to let the city staff who's been working and the folks from CSW go home. So are there any last questions? And I do promise to follow up via email with everybody. So I'd like to thank Kamesh. Kamesh, I assure you our community has thoughts with you and the well-being of your father. I hope everything works out okay. I'd like to thank city staff, CSW, and the rest of you for attending our meeting. So we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much for hosting us, and pleasure to be with you guys. Thank you, Philip. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.